He's had a terrific season. Coach, welcome back. How you been?
Doing great. Good to be with you guys.
Absolutely. It's amazing here. We all try to plot this out, and Tiki and I just do a show every day. We follow the storylines, and we have to basically hit everything and in a broad stroke across the country. You can be a little more specific to your own cause, and at this point, you could check things off the list. What is the biggest, aside from winning this weekend, of course?
Well, you got it right
That's
there.
it. That's it. That's it. That's it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's all we're focused on, and you're talking, that's going on the road again in the top 10 team here 2 of the last 3 weeks. You got to win. You got to play well, and you got to win. And if you do, then you got a chance to be Big 12 champs. And as of right now, 3 of the top 10 teams are Big 12 teams.
Yeah, you're right. It's going to be interesting how it all plays out when it's all said and done, because this is your last week of play. But Baylor plays 2 weeks this week also, but then also the following week against Texas. Before you can win a game, though, you got to have your best talent on the field. Baker Mayfield, we know he had a concussion last weekend. One, as he passed the protocol, and then your 2 running backs, Samaje Perine and Joe Mixon. How are they health-wise?
Yeah, Baker to this point has passed all the protocol and practiced yesterday and was fine, through it all. So as long as he continues that way, we expect him to play. If he has any setbacks, then that may be different, But and then Samaje and Joe were limited yesterday, but believe they're going to be. Believe Samaje will be, back to full speed, and Joe will be able to play. We believe at this point.
Now, you guys have been put in a difficult situation because of when you've played. You've been in prime time the last couple of weeks, which is awesome because of the stage, and guys get excited for it, and especially when you're playing teams like Baylor and TCU right in your own conference. You control your own destiny. What's the message to your team right now playing against Oklahoma State in a game that could determine whether or not you're in the college football playoff?
As much as anything, stick to our the process of going to practice, our meetings. Make sure that that we're doing everything we can to be as good as we can be Saturday night, and we've been in a good rhythm. In the way we've been preparing and practicing and the way we've been playing, stay in that rhythm and invest in the week.
Coach, we had you in studio, just for those who might not recall, we had you in studio following I believe it was the win against Tulsa in, late-ish September. Then you guys had a bye week going into the West Virginia game. So it was still pretty early in the season. You were undefeated, and then you put, 44, 45 points on the Mountaineers. You won that game. Trying to reflect, not that I think you remember what we actually discussed that day, but what you remember about your team at that point in the season. What's been the biggest surprise that's unfolded since to you, good or bad?
Not so much surprise, our growth. Just that we were still a young team. We're still, even right now, we only have a handful of seniors. So we were young, inexperienced on the offensive line and at receiver positions, and those positions have really grown since that time and improved and have sort of matured. Defense, same thing, has really come together, and we lead the league in every single defensive category. So there's been a lot of growth there too. So probably as much as anything, just the maturity of some of the guys that were new and young in some of those spots have really come on.
There you go. Bob Stoops, head coach of the Sooners, with us on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. And Bob, as we started the interview, I said, what are you trying to factor in now? And you cut me off, and I get it, and you're right. You got to win. Otherwise, everything else we say is completely it's rendered useless here. But you're still a human being, and you still understand what's happening. And I'm curious, one game that we've had circled for a long time, although it doesn't quite, I guess on some level it does, the Stanford-Notre Dame game. And do you not, you have to on some level follow the other conferences. So like when Stanford loses to Oregon, you know that the impact of the Irish-Cardinal game is a little different because now only one team, certainly in theory, is a team that you have to make sure that you can hop over to get to the championship series. I know that's a lot of words, but you don't look at each week and really study what's happening? In addition,
I wouldn't say study it. You can't. You certainly are aware and you pay attention to some degree, but I'm not sitting there studying it by any means. Did I notice that Michigan State beat Ohio State? Sure. I was in my office before our game watching it, for 10 minutes. But in the end, yeah, you're aware, but are we studying it doesn't do me any good. We got to study ourselves in Oklahoma State and be the best we can be.
You know what, Coach? I'm interested to know. I mean, I think I know the answer to this question, but I have to ask it because you may be on the outside looking in. Is the college football playoff exactly what you start every season looking for, or is it the Big 12 championship? Because if you win the Big 12, if you win this weekend, you win the Big 12 championship outright because you've beaten all the other guys, Baylor and TCU, and then Oklahoma State, and you guaranteed to go to the Cotton Bowl. But that can't be the ceiling, correct?
No, you want to be in a position. It's where we begin for sure. It's where our goals begin, is always want to be our conference champion, and you never take that lightly. But then once you do that, you want to be in a position for sure to be in the playoff.
Now, if you do win the Big 12 championship outright, is it going to be a second year because you don't have a Big 12 championship that the Big 12 team is going to be left out? You have to think about that.
Hopefully not, or not. I don't believe it would be in regard if we're able to do that. You look at, we've beaten 2 top 10 teams on the road in the last 3 weeks, and beat TCU, a ranked team, and put our hand up to go on the road in front of 110,000 to play SEC's Tennessee.
Yeah.
And beat them at their place.
Yeah, so all you can do is wait for tonight, really, and see where you're going to be ranked and what kind of impact beating Oklahoma State would have on the rankings.
Well, again, we've got to go do that, and and I think it'll be recognized if you're able to do it. As if Oklahoma State's able to do it, then they'll be recognized.
When you look back at the Texas game here, Bob, and obviously the rivalry, and anytime there's a rivalry, unpredictable things can happen. Obviously, having no dog in the fight, I can, and knowing where Texas is as a program now, try to get it back, I can sit back and say fairly confidently that if you guys played 10 times, I think that you'd probably win 8.5 or 9. The one time you didn't lose, unfortunately, could derail the whole season. When you look back at that game, what happened?
Well, it's a long time ago. We've grown a lot. You asked me that earlier on your show here. We're a much different team than we are at that time. There's been a lot of maturity and a lot of growth and a lot of improvement since then. And we're looking forward now.
You know what would annoy me, and this is a compliment to you, but this would annoy me, but if I'm Bob Stoops, all right, and I'm going on a few radio shows, and I'm getting ready for a big primetime matchup against Oklahoma State Saturday, 8 Eastern, ABC, the whole college football world's going to be watching. I got to go on these shows and answer dopey questions from dopey hosts, because, and I know Tiki brought this up, but because my conference puts me in a position where I have to answer these questions. And I know that you do a nice job of navigating those emotions, but maybe I'm speaking for you. If I'm you, I'm just pissed off, Bob. I wouldn't want to have to deal with this it's not fair to you.
Hey, it's part of the job, man. You just fight through it every day. That's all you can do.
Yeah, but do you pine for a championship, I wonder?
Of course he does.
What's that?
Do you pine for a championship game?
Well, again, we play right now with only 10 teams. We play 9 conference games.
Yeah, that's a good point.
For instance, the SEC plays 8, so the 2 teams that are in the championship play 9 conference games. We decide ours differently. So, it's, and we put our hand up to go to Tennessee and play.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are willing to do that, and mind you, 2 years prior to that, we had Notre Dame and Florida State 2 years before that. And next year, we have Ohio State for 2 years.
You know what it is, Coach? The bottom line is, I think we're all new to this process, and we're all asking questions. The bottom line is not to obscure. It's been a terrific season so far. You guys have played great, 10-1 overall, 7-1 at a great conference. So have fun Saturday. As always, we appreciate you giving us a couple of minutes and appreciate the patience with the dopey questions that Tiki always asks you.
Hey, you guys are always great to be on with. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it,
Thanks.
Coach.